Okay, I'm going to show you some charcoal drawing. I'm going to be working from a still life setup, and I'm going to be drawing on paper. So the first thing I'll show you is a couple of different types of charcoal. You've got sticks of compressed charcoal. They're normally smoother, I guess more man-made looking sticks of charcoal, and they have very different textural and visual effects when you use them on paper. And then a piece of willow charcoal, it just looks like a burnt stick pretty much, and it is a very light, delicate type of charcoal. So I'll start with the willow charcoal. If you make a mark with willow charcoal, it's very smooth and very light, and then if you touch it, it basically goes back to hardly anything at all. So it's a very delicate type of charcoal. Compressed charcoal, on the other hand, is more of a concentrated sort of charcoal. So it's compressed together, more of a man-made type of charcoal, and I'll use this charcoal to demonstrate its properties. When you use it, it's very hard, very gritty, but also it is very opaque, and it's very dark. And if you blend it or smudge it, it still remains quite dark. Various sizes of it, various thicknesses of it, and various softness and density as well are available. So the ones you can work with in the art room will give you a variety of different appearances. So I'm going to start drawing. I'll do an example of how to draw in charcoal. You can use a variety of different techniques. You can use your contour techniques. You can use some of those tonal techniques. Don't worry about, again, if your work doesn't look super realistic. Again, the objective here is to experiment. I'm going to start with my willow charcoal, because this is my fine outlining type of charcoal, and I'm going to start drawing the shape or outlines. And again, I'm going to overlay my lines because I know that I can come back and change them and muck around with them quite a bit. So I don't like that shape there. I'm going to remove that. If you have an eraser, you can erase charcoal. It doesn't erase quite as neatly as a graphite pencil, but you can erase back into it, and that can create other effects as well, which you can experiment with. So I'm going to have a go at doing just the outlines first, and then I'm going to come back with some compressed charcoal, and I'm going to show you some of the effects that can be achieved there. Okay, so just working quite quickly, I'm going to start hitting it with some compressed charcoal and darkening up some of the areas that I know are have been firmed in, and they're exactly where I want them. And I'm working pretty much with outlines here. I'm not trying to be too delicate. And again, if you want to work with tone, you can use contour lines. You can try smudging. You want to try a little bit of smudging. I tend to like to keep my charcoal quite fresh, keep the marks fresh. If you do too much blending and smudging, it tends to lose the vitality in the lines, and I like to keep my line work looking nice and fresh and crisp. And again, you can draw in where your table is, and if you want to draw in a shadow, you can draw in a shadow as well. Then you can go over some of those lines. So you can work back into this, you can smudge some areas, you can work back in with hard lines, you can work back in with some willow charcoal and do some softer tonal modelling. You can erase back into areas and get a real texture going in the surface of your work.